What do we have in store today? ACC predictions. Right. Welcome, college football fans. It's your boy, Nick DTV, and I'm here doing another preview prediction video, this time for the ACC. So, might we get started, shall we? First up on the chopping block, I got Friday Night Lights, FSU on the road at Louisville. This is an intriguing matchup. I'm very excited for this game. Both Malik Cunningham, both teams have pretty good quarterbacks, pretty good running quarterbacks, pretty comparable. Now, Malik Cunningham, obviously, he didn't get the start he wanted. Going back into the Syracuse game, he just did not perform well, and they got blown out by Syracuse. We still have yet to figure out if Syracuse is, a good team or not, so it's hard to really hold that loss for them or against them. Now, what you can say is that you don't want to get blown out by any team, so just getting blown out right there in itself is not a good look. But they came out, they redeemed themselves against UCF, which UCF is a pretty good program, year in and year out. We don't know what they're going to do yet this year, but so far from what we've seen, like UCF, they went 1-0 and went to Louisville on the road and lost on Thursday night. So, again, it's up in the air whether UCF is going to be, a good team or not either. So, both win and losses, you got to question because you really don't know much about the other teams, and that's the beauty of it being early in the season is that you really don't know who's the leaders and who's the losers. So, anyways, this game, back to this game, FSU is a 2.5-point favorite. It's always hard to play a weekday game because you get an extra day of practice and it kind of jams your schedule up. I mean, these schools, they run like a well-oiled machine. You know what I mean? The way they practice and the way everything's scheduled and set up. That's why coaches make these big bucks. It's not necessarily always about the in-game decisions and all that and who should start at quarterback. No, a lot of what they do is simply scheduling and setting up how they want the team to go through the week and what to do when during which week. I mean, what to do when during which day, leading up to the game. So you lose your schedule a little bit. It kind of throws off your rhythm. But you're getting one less extra day of reps. So, I understand it being a 2.5 point favorite. Now, it's hard because 2.5, it's kind of a trap because it makes you want to bet the over. The likelihood, it's more likely, in my opinion, that FSU would win by 3 points rather than winning by 2 points or 1 point, So I would take the over, just out of a pure statistical standpoint. And plus, I feel like I know more about FSU than I do Louisville. Seeing what FSU has done the past 3 weeks, kind of makes me feel more confident about taking them. So I'm going to lay the points with FSU. my next is Wofford versus Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech is another kind of team that's really undecided at this point. Really don't know for sure what to make out of them. Now, they're not a good team, and I think we all can understand that, but how bad are they? You know what I mean? We don't really know how bad they are yet. They lost to Old Dominion, and we'll learn a lot more about Old Dominion this coming week. And I'll get to that game real in a minute. But they play Virginia, so if they can knock off two Virginia teams, within a couple weeks, then we can kind of say, okay, Old Dominion's a pretty good team. So, but until we do that, it's Old Dominion. They lost to Old Dominion, a Group of 5 school, and not only that, but Virginia Tech had revenge on their minds. They were coming. You got to remember, they were coming in this game trying to knock off Old Dominion because they didn't beat them the last time they played either. So, even with that factor, they came in and they still, played horrible. And Grant Wells played like shit. He lost his touch since when he was at Marshall. It's just, they just don't look like a good team. And then they come out and handle Boston College. But then again, Boston College isn't necessarily a powerhouse either. They got destroyed by somebody called Kansas. So, really, it looks to me like Boston College is just not a good team. You know what I mean? So they beat Boston College, handle business at home. Now they're playing Wofford. Obviously, I think that they'll probably win this game. I think it might be a little bit closer. I didn't see a spread for this game. I'm sure there is, but I think it's be a little bit closer than what the experts are thinking. Now this is a really intriguing matchup. Purdue versus Syracuse. Syracuse is a 1-point favorite. We saw Syracuse back-to-back weeks. Didn't they play Boston College week 1? No, they played Louisville week 1, blew them out. Then they played UConn, blew them out. In UConn, it looked like there was a glimpse that maybe they would be kind of, a much better team than what they were last year. Now, they're a better team, but they're not as much better as we kind of thought. So, yeah, Syracuse, 2 blowouts. They're playing like a well-oiled machine. Purdue, their offense is incredible. They beat they lost to Penn State week 1, but it was a very close game. It was a Thursday, and they looked good. I mean, they didn't, they lost from a game-winning drive by Penn State, so it wasn't necessarily that, they gave the game away. It was just that Penn State, had that one last drive at the end, kind of put things away. Their defense could play a lot better, I think. But offensively, I mean, you watch Purdue play, and they're fun to watch. I mean, sling the ball around. They got all these fast wide receivers, tall wide receivers on the outside. They can test any defense in the country. I feel like I know more about Purdue than I do Syracuse, because Syracuse has been down for a couple years, so we really don't know exactly what we're gonna get from them. So, but it's a 1-point favorite. Why a 1-point favorite? That makes no sense to me. Why even make them because you can't score a half a point. So why would you be a 1-point favorite to begin with? It's a pick'em game. That's what it is. I don't know why they just don't not put a spread on. It doesn't matter. Anyways, shit. Did I see where this was at? Oh, it's at Syracuse. It's in the Dome. So, it's tough to play. It's tough to go on the road in the Dome. Give me Syracuse. I'm going to take Syracuse in the points. The 1 point. So, they have to win by at least a point. So, I'm going to take them. Now we got Virginia versus Old Dominion. Virginia's an 8.5-point favorite. Some people are like, oh, man, that's kind of low, isn't it? No, it's not low. We just seen Old Dominion go on the road, mind you, and beat Virginia Tech. So, they're itching to beat another Virginia team. They want to be able to say that we're the kings of Virginia. So they're going to be hyped up for this game. They're going to be ready to go, locked and loaded. They want to prove that they're capable of hanging with the big boys in Virginia, and they want to prove that they're the best football team in Virginia. So I think this would be closer than 8.5, to be honest with you. I think Virginia would probably win by a touchdown. Virginia didn't look too good their past few games. I mean, they beat a nobody. What the hell is that team? Oh, man. They beat a nobody Virginia school. Kind of struggled with them early. Finally got their rhythm. Was able to kind of get away with the win. Then they went to Illinois and just got demolished. So Virginia's not. They kind of look like a mixed bag. They don't really look like a, they look susceptible to get upset here. That's all I'm saying. I think I'm gonna take Old Dominion. I still think Virginia will win, but I think they'll only win by maybe a touchdown or so, not in 8.5. Now we got Ole Miss versus Georgia Tech. Ole Miss is a 16.5 favorite against Georgia Tech. They over under 63. Give me Ole Miss. Georgia Tech's is just a terrible program, just awful. And Ole Miss, offensively, like games like this, they love it because they know that they're just going to go out there and absolutely ball for 4 quarters. They're going to come out here and put some points down. I think 16.5 is not enough. Give me Ole Miss in the points. Liberty versus Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a 16.5-point favorite again. Liberty overall, they've shocked some people in the past, but I don't see it happening here. I think Wake Forest with Sam Hartman coming back in, they're playing pretty well. On offense, they're like a well-oiled machine. They look just like they did last year, if you had to ask me. So I think Wake Forest is going to be trying to, knock on the door, trying to wake some people up. So, that's a tough line. I'm going to lay the points because I think they could probably win by 17, maybe. Might be a close game during the first half, and then maybe the fourth quarter, third, fourth quarter, they start to kind of pull away. I could definitely see them, winning by, 17 points, maybe 20 points. Nothing crazy, but, it's a clear mismatch. And Liberty doesn't have a not Malik Cunningham. What the hell is his name? The other quarterback. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Quarterback that got drafted. Malik Willis. Yeah, Malik Willis. That's who he is. Yeah. They don't have a Malik Willis on their team anymore, so it's tough to really have any confidence in Liberty in this game. Now we got NC AT&T. Yeah, AT&T versus Duke. Wow. So, give me Duke. Obviously, think they'll handle business. They blew out Temple. They can blow out NC AT&T. Texas Tech versus NC State. Now, this is another kind of interesting matchup. Texas Tech's off that important win against Houston. And they look like a pretty good team. I'm kind of, I'm looking for them to surprise some people in the Big 12, and they might be a contender. Might be a contender. We'll have to see a little bit more from them. This will be an interesting matchup because NC State hasn't looked good, and we were all expecting them to come out and play well. So I think that. So North Carolina State is a 9.5 point favorite against Texas Tech. I think that's a little too high. Definitely give me Texas Tech in the points. I actually think Texas Tech might be able to get the upset. Now, it is in Raleigh, so hostile environment, and they do show up for the games. I mean, it's not some powerhouse crowd, but I mean, they definitely show up for the games, so it does make a difference. But I think people are sleeping on Texas Tech, and generally, I think they're a pretty solid team. They have been for the past few years. I kind of don't know why they randomly fired their head coach last year, because they weren't even that bad overall, but they did. But this new guy's got the team looking good. I think Texas Tech will definitely cover the spread, that 9.5, and I think they actually get the win. I'd take them on the money line. That'd be my money line pick. I don't think NC State is ready for Texas Tech and what they have to bring to the table. Going on to a revenge game, Pitt versus Western Michigan. These two juggernauts face off. It's at Western Michigan too, so you got to be thinking the air is going to be, makes it difficult for Pitt to keep up with Western Michigan. They're a 10-point favorite, which is kind of surprising considering that they lost to Western Michigan. And it's at Western Michigan this year, so, and they came off a huge, they went up and down, like they went and they won the backyard brawl, and it was a huge game. And then they go to Tennessee and they lose that in overtime. So their emotions kind of up and down at this point. So they might have a hangover. And also, like I said, the air in Michigan, because the altitude is so high, I think that might have something to do with it. I don't see Pitt covering the spread here. I think Pitt's a very good team, and I think some of that 10 points is inflated because they looked very good the past few games. But yeah, I definitely think that they slip up. They might not lose, but I think that they get tested by Western Michigan. So give me the points for Western Michigan. Now we got Maine versus Boston College. Now, Boston College is a terrible team. They just look awful. Some people were talking about them being a ACC contender. We'll see how long that lasted, but I think they'll handle business against BC. I didn't even bother putting the spread out on this game. There's no point. Now you got Clemson and Louisiana Tech. like, I don't think there's much point talking about this. I mean, I think Clemson will handle business. DJ actually looked a lot better last game, but again, it was a nobody, so we really don't know yet what that means. Their defense obviously is gonna keep them in any game regardless. I don't think this game will be close at all. I think Clemson probably wins 38-7 if I had to take a guess. So up next, I got Miami versus Texas A&M. And this is going to be a very interesting game. And we've been talking about this game all off season, so a lot of build-up, a lot of expectations for this game. Coming in the off season, we were looking at Miami like they didn't have a chance and that they were going to get blown out. Now it kind of might be the other way around. Texas A&M lost to Appalachian State last week. I remind you, now Appalachian State, they pretty good team. They went to the wire with North Carolina at home. North Carolina still beat them, so I mean they're not good enough. They're not as good as North Carolina, but they're able to beat Texas A&M. So kind of concerning if you're an Aggie. Miami's or Texas A&M after losing is a 6.5 point favorite, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, I guess it makes sense because they probably have something to prove coming into this game. But I think Miami's going to get the upset. I think Miami's going to take the next step this year and kind of contend for not only an ACC title but a playoff spot. Not to say that they're going to get there, but they're going to contend at least. And I think this is going to, wake some people up. But I think overall Texas A&M is going to have another 8-4 season. So give me that 6.5. Even if Texas A&M wins, I think that they might be able to win 21-27 maybe, something like that. 34-27 or 34-28, something around those lines, and that would not cover the spread. So I'm gonna take Miami to hold off. So that's it for my ACC predictions. Like and subscribe, and catch you on my next video.